Well, I've been meditating since 1970. I first started meditating Ananda Marga Yoga. And then the spiritual teacher passed away. I wanted a living teacher. So my wife Claudia had known the Sakya family for many years here in Seattle, and she introduced me to them back in 94, 95. And when I met His Holiness Jigdala Doctrine Sakya, I knew I'd found my spiritual teacher. And the transition from Ananda Marga to Tibetan Buddhism was transparent. They're very similar in their philosophies and meditation practices. I'm the co-executive director along with Adrian Chan. And our role is to help the monastery operate efficiently and to improve and to build infrastructure and to make it a more welcoming and special place.
Okay. That's good. It's like a tie. Tip.
In Vajrayana Buddhism, the Lama has an important role in that the Lama is viewed as a representative of Buddha, or an emanation of Buddhahood. And so that in Vajrayana Buddhism, when we take refuge in the Lama and the Buddha and the Dharma and the Sangha, because the Lama helps us in our spiritual path. And I know I need all the help I can get. So, when I grew up, my parents took us to Presbyterian Church, but none of us, I think, found that particularly compelling, and so we stopped going. My wife practices Buddhism. My parents go to a Baptist church. And I think it's great, I think it's really important for people to have a spiritual path or a religion. And whether it's Baptist, Presbyterian, Christianity, Judaism, Muslim, Buddhism, doesn't make all that difference. There are many paths to God, per se. Ism is inconsequential. Are you working to become a better person, and are you succeeding? I see Buddhism as working to live a spiritual life in every aspect, every second of the day. Not just when you're meditating, but when you're talking to someone, when you're thinking, when you're driving. Are you leading and living a spiritual life? It's really, we aren't learning about Buddhism, we're learning about our mind. We're learning about reality. We're learning about how things really work. And so it's not some intellectual exercise, actually, although a lot of people are into the intellectual part of it. The real part is the practice. Sitting. Can you sit for 10 minutes and have no thoughts? And not in terms of suppressing or repressing thoughts, but just be calm and peaceful and clear. And very few Americans can pull that off. We're all thinking, doing, list. And that's creates veils between what's really happening. So when you can not put a lot of labels on things, when you aren't thinking all the time, all of a sudden there's something to fill up. If you're thinking all the time, the glass is already filled up. So the practices help you empty yourself so that you can actually be filled up with something that's meaningful. Well, I bought this property back in 2000, and the goal is we have a 500-year plan to return this property to mature old-growth forest, maximum diversity of species. All of this was blackberries, and we've planted over 15,000 native plants so far, 80 species to create habitat for birds and animals and insects, etc. And I've also written a book called Secrets of Sacred Space, and so this is my sculpture garden. Best kept secret on the West Coast. How you doing, folks? I'm Chuck Pettis. I'm the creator of Earth Sanctuary. For many years, I looked at what was going on in the planet in terms of the environment, the ecology, and I'm pointing my finger at all the bad things going on. But when you point your finger, 3 fingers come back at you. So this is my taking personal responsibility for 72 acres to create a very peaceful place and to hopefully motivate people to do a little more prayer, or a little bit more meditation. Yeah, so these are Tibetan prayer flags, and on these prayer flags are prayers of loving kindness and compassion. So when the wind blows, it's blowing these prayers of love and kindness and compassion all over the property. And this is a Tibet Tech prayer wheel. In Tibetan Buddhism, we believe that when you spin a prayer wheel that has prayers in it, and you do it with an intention of may all beings be happy, may all beings be free of suffering, that it has the same benefit as saying as many prayers as there are inside the prayer wheel. So this is the most powerful prayer wheel in the planet. It has over 1.3 trillion prayers, which is actually quite a large number. So if you said a prayer a second, 24 hours a day, it would take you over 40,000 years to say that many prayers, one revolution. And this prayer wheel's gone around over 1.2 million times. We have a counter. We count them up. And prayer wheels help a place or environment become peaceful. And in Buddhism, we view all beings as important, not just human beings, but little beings, bird beings, animal beings, deer beings are all really important. I would describe Buddhism as a way of life. And if someone is looking for practical spiritual tools to help them lead a spiritual life and to make the world a better place and to help them become a better father, partner, brother, sister, niece, nephew, friend, co-worker, that the techniques and principles and tools of Buddhism might be able to help them.